Hi, and welcome to English channel. Are you learning English? Great. Let's learn English with a very interesting story. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment. Let's get started.
1. Introduction. Corn is everywhere in our lives, but it hides a strange secret. It is the only plant on Earth that cannot survive without humans. This sounds surprising, but it is true. If all people suddenly disappeared, corn would also disappear in just a few years. Why? Because corn cannot plant itself. Its seeds are locked tightly inside a hard cob. They cannot fall to the ground and grow like other plants. Without human hands to open the cob and plant the seeds, corn has no future. Long ago, corn was just a wild grass. It was small, hard, and not very useful. But over thousands of years, humans slowly changed it. They selected better plants again and again. Today, corn feeds millions of people around the world, but in return, it depends completely on us. This is the story of a plant shaped by humans to feed the world. 2. Teosinte, a humble beginning 10,000 years ago. The story of corn begins about 10,000 years ago in a land we now call Mexico. At that time, corn did not exist. Instead, there was a small wild grass called teosinte. It did not look special, and most people today would not notice it. It was just a simple plant growing in the wild. Teosinte was very different from modern corn. Its ears were small and thin, and each ear had only a few seeds. These seeds were hard and covered by a strong shell. They were not soft or sweet like the corn we eat today. In fact, they were difficult to chew and not very tasty. For many people, teosinte did not seem like a good food. However, early humans in Mesoamerica were careful and patient. They did not ignore this plant. They collected its seeds and tried to use them. By breaking the hard shell, they found something useful inside. Slowly, they began to understand the plant better. Teosinte was not the most important food at first, but it had one advantage. It could grow in many places and survive in difficult conditions. This made it reliable. People started to pay more attention to it over time. They also noticed small differences between plants. Some had bigger seeds. Some had thinner shells. These small changes were important. They gave early humans an idea. Without knowing it, they were about to start changing the plant forever. 3. The silent revolution of unknown farmers. Over thousands of years, early farmers in Mesoamerica continued to work with teosinte. They made small but important choices every season. They saved seeds from the best plants and planted them again. This simple action slowly changed the plant. These farmers did not know about science or DNA, but they had experience and careful observation. They saw that some plants were better than others, so they chose seeds that were larger, softer, and easier to eat. Then they planted those seeds in the next season. At first, the changes were very small. People could not see a big difference in one year, but over many generations, the plant began to change clearly. The seeds became bigger. The hard shell became thinner. The ears became longer and fuller. This process took a very long time. It required patience and effort. The farmers who did this work are unknown today. We do not know their names, but their work was very important. Modern scientists say that only a few parts of the plant's DNA changed, but these small changes created a completely new plant. Teosinte slowly became early corn. This was a quiet revolution. There were no machines or big inventions, but it changed human history. Because of these farmers, corn became a strong and useful crop. It could feed many people and help communities grow. This story shows that small actions, repeated over time, can create something powerful and lasting. 4. A genetic leap. When corn began to grow fast. About 5,000 years ago, something very important happened in the story of corn. Early corn was already different from Teosinte, but it was still small and not very productive. Then, a special event changed everything. Early farmers grew corn in different regions. In the highlands, there was another type of Teosinte that was stronger and could survive in colder weather. At some point, this highland Teosinte mixed with early corn. This mixing is called crossbreeding. This natural and human-guided process created a new type of corn. The new plant had a larger cob. It also had more seeds, and the seeds were softer and richer in starch. This made the corn much more useful as food. For farmers, this was a big improvement. They could grow more food from the same land. The plant was also easier to harvest and prepare. Because of this, people began to grow corn more often. As time passed, this new corn spread across many regions. It moved from Mexico to other parts of North and South America. Different groups of people adapted it to their own land and climate. Corn became a reliable and important crop. It could grow in many conditions and support growing populations. Villages became larger, and societies became stronger. This moment was like a turning point. Before this, corn was slowly improving. After this, it began to grow and spread quickly. It was no longer just a local plant. It was becoming a major source of life for many people. 5. Mother corn, the spirit of ancient civilizations. As corn spread across the Americas, it became more than just food. For many ancient civilizations, corn was deeply connected to life, culture, and belief. It was not only something people ate, it was something they respected and honored. The Maya and the Aztec people believed that corn was a gift from the gods. In their daily lives, corn was everywhere. They used it to make food, drinks, and even tools. It was a central part of their world. In the Maya story, called the Popol Vuh, there is a powerful idea. It says that humans were created from corn. The gods tried to make humans many times. At first, they failed, but in the end, they used corn dough to create people. This time, the humans were strong and successful. Because of this story, corn was seen as the source of life. It was not just a plant. It was like a mother that fed and protected people. Some even called it mother corn. Farmers respected corn deeply. They thanked it for their food and survival. Growing corn was not just work. It was also a spiritual act. This strong connection helped corn become even more important. It shaped traditions, beliefs, and daily life. Corn was at the center of everything. Even today, we can see how important corn was in these ancient cultures. It was not just a crop. It was a symbol of life, growth, and connection between humans and nature. 6. Across the ocean. Corn travels with Columbus. In the year 1492, a new chapter began for corn. Christopher Columbus sailed across the Atlantic Ocean and reached the Americas. There, he saw many new plants, including corn. He and other explorers brought corn back to Europe for the first time. At first, corn was something new and unusual for Europeans, but farmers quickly saw its value. Corn could grow in many different environments. It did not need perfect soil, and it could survive in both wet and dry places. This made it very useful. Soon, corn began to spread across Europe. From there, it traveled even farther. It reached Africa, where it grew well in warm climates and became an important food for many communities. It also reached Asia, including China, where farmers planted it on dry mountain slopes. Corn changed agriculture around the world. It produced a large amount of food in a short time. Because of this, more people could be fed. Populations began to grow faster than before. In many places, corn became a basic food. It helped people survive in difficult conditions. From a local crop in the Americas, corn became a global plant. Its journey across the ocean changed the world forever. 7. The tragedy of pellagra, a lost secret. As corn spread across the world, it brought both benefits and problems. In the Americas, indigenous people had a special way to prepare corn. This method is called Nixtamalization. They soaked corn in water mixed with lime. This process made corn softer and easier to cook, but more importantly, it unlocked an important nutrient called niacin. Without this step, the human body cannot use this nutrient properly. However, when corn arrived in Europe, people did not learn this method. They ate corn without treating it the right way. At first, everything seemed fine, but after some time, a serious disease began to appear. This disease was called pellagra. It became common in places where people depended heavily on corn. Pellagra is often described with 4 D words: dermatitis, diarrhea, dementia, and death. People suffered from skin problems, stomach issues, and mental confusion. Many became very weak, and some died. At that time, doctors did not understand the cause. It was a mystery. The real problem was not corn itself, but the missing knowledge. Without nixtamalization, the body could not get enough niacin. This simple but important step had been forgotten. This tragedy teaches an important lesson. Knowledge is just as important as food. When people lose traditional knowledge, even a helpful plant can become dangerous. 8. Yellow number 2, and the age of standard corn. In the 19th century, corn was already an important crop in many parts of the world. However, there was a problem. There were too many different types of corn. Each region had its own variety, with different sizes, colors, and qualities. This made trade difficult. Farmers and buyers wanted something more consistent. They needed corn that looked the same, grew in a predictable way, and could be sold easily in large markets. Without a standard type, it was hard to set prices or transport corn over long distances. In the United States, an important change happened in the 1840s. A farmer named James L. Reed discovered a special type of corn by chance. This corn later became known as Reed's Yellow Dent. It had strong plants, large ears, and bright yellow kernels. This new variety was better for farming and trade. It produced high yields and was easy to grow. Farmers quickly saw its value and began to plant it more widely. Over time, it spread across the country. Reed's Yellow Dent became the foundation for modern corn production. It helped create a standard type of corn that could be used in many ways. Today, a version of this yellow corn makes up more than 99% of the corn produced in the United States. This was the beginning of a new era. Corn was no longer just a local crop with many forms. It became a standardized product, ready for large-scale farming and global trade. 9. The Industrial and Biotech Revolution. In the 20th century, corn farming changed again in a big way. New technologies and scientific ideas helped farmers grow more corn than ever before. This period is often called a revolution in agriculture. In the 1930s, scientists developed hybrid corn. Hybrid corn is created by crossing two different parent plants to produce stronger and more productive offspring. These new plants could grow faster and produce more kernels. Farmers quickly adopted hybrid corn because it gave better results. Yields increased, and crops became more reliable. This meant more food and more profit for farmers. After World War II, another change took place. Chemical fertilizers, especially ammonium nitrate, became widely used. These fertilizers helped plants grow faster and stronger by providing important nutrients. With better seeds and better soil support, corn production increased greatly. Farmers could now grow much more corn on the same land. At the same time, machines began to replace human labor. Modern equipment could plant, care for, and harvest corn much faster than before. What once took a whole day of hard work could now be done in just a few minutes. These changes transformed farming into a large and efficient system. Corn became one of the most productive crops in the world. It could be grown in huge quantities to support growing populations. However, this progress also created new challenges. Farming became more dependent on technology, chemicals, and a small number of corn varieties. Still, this revolution marked a major step forward. It showed how science and technology could work together to increase food production and change the way we live. 10. Corn everywhere. A super product in modern life. Today, corn is one of the most important crops in the world. It is not only food that we can see on our plates. It is also hidden in thousands of everyday products. In fact, corn is used in more than 4,000 different items. This makes it a true super product of the modern world. Many people know corn as something we eat, like boiled corn or popcorn. But corn is also turned into many ingredients. One of the most common is corn syrup, which is used to sweeten drinks and snacks. You can find it in soda, candy, and even bread. Corn is also used to feed animals. Chickens, cows, and pigs often eat corn-based food. This means that even meat, milk, and eggs are connected to corn. When we eat these foods, we are also depending on corn in an indirect way. Beyond food, corn is used in industry. It can be turned into biofuel, which helps power cars. It is also used to make plastic, paper, and even medicine. Some types of glue, paint, and cosmetics contain ingredients from corn. Surprisingly, corn is even used in products like diapers. The soft and absorbent materials inside them often come from corn-based chemicals. This shows how deeply corn is connected to our daily lives. If you walk through a modern supermarket, you may not notice it, but corn is everywhere. Experts say that about 1/3 of all products in a supermarket contain corn in some form. Corn has become a hidden foundation of modern life. It supports food systems, industries, and daily products. From what we eat to what we use, corn plays a role almost everywhere. 11. The fragile kingdom of modern corn. Even though corn is so powerful and useful, the system that produces it is not as strong as it seems. In fact, modern corn production is very complex and also very fragile. Today, large farms grow huge amounts of corn using advanced machines, chemical fertilizers, and special seeds. This system can produce a lot of food, but it depends on many factors working perfectly together. One major problem is climate change. Corn needs the right temperature, water, and soil conditions to grow well. If the weather becomes too hot, too dry, or too unpredictable, crops can fail. A bad season can affect food supply in many countries. Another risk is disease. Because many farms grow the same type of corn, a single disease or virus can spread quickly. When plants are too similar, they do not have natural protection. This is called monoculture. Monoculture makes farming easier and more efficient, but it also creates danger. If one disease can attack one plant, it can attack all of them. This means a large part of the world's corn supply could be destroyed in a short time. Global politics also play a role. Corn is traded between countries. If there are conflicts, trade problems, or economic changes, the supply chain can break. This can lead to food shortages or higher prices. The modern corn system is like a large and powerful kingdom. It feeds millions of people and supports many industries. But at the same time, it stands on a delicate balance. This situation teaches us an important lesson. Even the strongest systems can be weak if they depend on too few solutions. To protect the future, people need to think about diversity, sustainability, and balance in farming. 12. A shared story. Humans and corn. At the end of this story, we learn a deep lesson. Humans created corn, but corn also helped create human life. This is a close partnership. We changed corn over thousands of years, and in return, corn fed us and helped our societies grow. Today, we still depend on corn in many ways. It is in our food, our farms, and many products we use every day. But there is also a problem. We are using fewer types of corn, and we are losing genetic diversity. We are also forgetting traditional knowledge that people learned over 10,000 years. This makes our system weaker and less safe. The most important lesson is balance. We need technology to improve our lives, but we must also protect nature. If we respect both, humans and corn can continue to grow together in a strong and healthy way.